Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. I'm here live with Robbie. How you doing, Robbie? We've got plenty of updates to go into. A change in manager for the Arsenal women's team and some injury problems as Arsenal come out of the international break, looking ahead to Bournemouth. We're going to chat about it all. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm good. Good, man. Looking for. I can't wait until the weekend, man, when that game starts. You know what I mean, against Bournemouth. 5:30 kickoff as well, the last one of the day. You know what I mean, but I can't wait. You know what I mean. I just can't get my head around all these international breaks. You know what I mean? There's so many of them, and I'm not being funny. The Nations League is just a glorified friendly, isn't it?
You're not sold.
I mean, I'm not sold on it at all. No, if these were qualifiers for, the World Cup or the Euros or something like that, I'd be good. But these meaningless, there's just too many of them in my books. But
were you at the England-Greece game?
I was at the England-Greece game last week, and that was terrible. I mean, I was sat watching that game, and I was like, you know what? You forget how good it is to watch a team of the quality of Arsenal when you see, like how Arsenal play. I mean, there's quality players on display, obviously. You know what I mean? You got Saka, you got Cole Palmer, you got Trent Alexander-Arnold, got top players out there. But the way in which England played, the amateurish way in which they were set up by Lee Carsley, and it was just the quality of football from England on that day was so poor. But I'm just glad that we've got Arsenal games coming back, and I can't wait. There's been too many international breaks already. You know what I mean? You get started, then there's a break. You get started, and then there's a break. So
I felt that way on pre-season tour, Robbie. I remember thinking that first game, Bournemouth. Funnily enough, Bournemouth, Bournemouth friendly in LA, and I remember thinking, I'm just excited to watch like a coach team, and that's even knowing we're going to have a lot of the academy players. But don't get me wrong, I think tournament football is fantastic. It's fantastic for the country. It's fantastic watching everyone get together. It's football 3 times a day, every day. There's so much I love about it. But the reason I don't always buy into it as much as others is that for me is a quality dip. And when I watch the Premier League, I look at, Villa United was quite a boring game, but what was it followed by? Brighton, Tottenham, 2 attacking teams playing great football. Arsenal and the football we've played, the late goal against Leicester, the win against Southampton for 1-0 behind. There's drama, but there's just like it's steeped in quality. And I've just been struggling with international football for a few years now. Maybe since Italy won the Euros, and I've just decided that's it. I've done it. But
not the same. It's not the same. Not the same quality, I feel. And I can't get into it fully until the time. Listen, I go to watch England games. I was at the Euros. I was been at World Cups. I mean, I enjoy international football. I really do. But I just think there's been so many. And then we got another international break coming up in November. I think they've got to find another way of doing it. Maybe they should have that break longer or something, where it's not so you get going in the Premier League, you stop for an international break 2 weeks. Then you start again, then you stop, then you start. You know what I mean? Maybe they should do it in a way in which we have a run of games and maybe a month of European football or international football or something like that, I just feel that, it's hard for me to retain my interest in it when it's just stop, start all the time.
I don't think it's good for the players. I mean,
and you saw yesterday. You saw yesterday, the Premier League and other leagues around Europe coming out and complaining to FIFA about the amount of games. I mean, these international games are mainly UEFA games, or they're CONCACAF, or the governing bodies of those different regions. But there's too many games. There is too many games.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of internationals, we may as well just bring up these rumours about Thomas Tuchel and Pep Guardiola. Promise everyone we'll get into the Arsenal stuff very soon, but I just wanted to quickly get your thoughts on that because very interesting. Arsenal, England are being very ambitious on the managerial front. What do you make of those reports, rumours, links, all that?
Yeah, well, I've been seeing today that Thomas Tuchel's in talks with England, right? And I actually think that'd be a good appointment because they, as I've said, I was at that game last week. Lee Carsley, he's just out of his depth. At the under-21s, he's done really, really well, but you can see he's out of his depth. There's more to it when you manage England, right? Because you've got the scrutiny of the press, and they are brutal. you know, and you can see already that he wouldn't be able to handle that. You know what I mean? With even some of the mistakes he's made and things he's said, it's not even just been on the pitch. That's an important part of it as well. So, yeah, they need a proper manager. There's not really anyone. I think Eddie Howe would be decent if he was the English guy put forward. Apart from him, there's not really a good candidate. So I think Thomas Tuchel would be great. Also, him away from joining Man United.
That's true, actually.
I was like, United, if I'm a United fan, right, I'd be thinking to myself, what, we should be going in there and getting him, you know what I mean? So that suggests that they're going to keep hold of Ten Hag for a long time yet. And if not, it could be Southgate. So that's great news.
Did you hear that Man United re-sacked Alex Ferguson before they sacked Ten Hag? Have you heard this report?
I haven't heard that one.
Right, so this is shared by Fabrizio Romano. Let me check. Yes, the actual Fabrizio Romano. Ineos have decided to cut Sir Alex Ferguson's multi-million-pound ambassadorial contract with Manchester United, reports Adam Crafton on The Athletic. Ferguson will remain a non-executive director at the club, still obviously welcome to attend Man United games, to which Saeed commented, they really sacked Sir Alex Ferguson before Ten Hag.
Saeed's going through it at the moment, man, and it's beautiful to see. You know what I mean? Now, I'm telling you, right? But yeah, listen, Thomas Tuchel will be a great signing for England. I think. I know there's going to be like, you know, some fans that don't like the German thing. You know what I mean? But I think younger fans don't care. They just see Thomas Tuchel as a good manager. So I think Thomas Tuchel will be a good appointment for England. And yeah, I'm for that. I'm all for that.
I just want the best manager for this group of players. Talking of appointing a new manager, the Arsenal women have some work to do. Here's the report, reading from the Arsenal website. Jonas Eidevall, Jonas or Jonas? How do I pronounce that right? Jonas Eidevall leaves Arsenal. The text says that we can confirm that Jonas Eidevall has resigned from his position as head coach of our women's first team and leaves us with immediate effect. Edu Gaspar has said that we thank Jonas for his commitment to the club and achievements here since joining us in 2021. We have great respect for the dedication and commitment he showed to our women's first team and recognise the role he has played in the growth and development of Arsenal women. We wish him all the very best for the future. Our focus will now turn to the process of appointing a new head coach, and in the meantime, supporting Renee as she takes interim charge of the team, starting with the two important fixtures this week. Now, they did have the disappointing home defeat, didn't they, to Chelsea on the weekend, 2-1 defeat. I think it's 1 win, 2 draws, and defeat in their opening 4 games, 5 points on the board. Recently lost 5-2, was it, to Bayern Munich. And look, he won the Conti Cup, you know, and you know, I doubt there's undoubtedly success there. I can't pretend to sort of be an expert on the job he did there, but a lot of people were feeling that this was imminent. What's your kind of take on all this, Robbie?
Yeah, funny enough, right? We were talking about this yesterday on the Bias Premier League show. I was going at it with Ty. Ty was trying his best to defend Jonas, but for me, I felt like that the game tomorrow for Arsenal, I was surprised that he's gone today. I was thinking to myself, I said to Ty last night, if he loses that, he's out, surely. Because he had a very poor start to the season. And he didn't finish last season well either. And you think of the team that Arsenal have in the women's, they've got a great side. You know what I mean? You look at the players throughout that team, they have a great side. They're stacked, right? So he's been underachieving as far as I'm concerned. A Conti Cup, you know, the way they sort of last year, some of the defeats, they should really. I feel Arsenal had a great chance of winning the league last year, and they some of the defeats they had to Tottenham, you know, and Liverpool. I was like, you know, some of the performances and some strange decisions he made, like that game last week. I was watching that against Bayern Munich, right?
Yeah,
Arsenal playing good. They were winning 2-1, right? And then he takes off Katie McCabe, right, who's playing brilliantly. Right, takes her off for some weird reason, and then they end up losing the game 5-2. And it was just a really, really poor performance. Remember last year we got knocked out of the Champions League by Paris, not PSG, that Paris team. It's not been good enough from him. I have to, but you know, the demands now in the women's game are now high. It's not like once upon a time. Like the expectations are high. Arsenal, the best supported women's team in this country. You know, I mean, there's 45,000, at the Emirates. That's where they've been playing. They're playing at the Emirates again tomorrow. 45,000 there for that game against Chelsea. Now, Chelsea are a great side, but again, you know, it was 2-1, but Chelsea were winning 2-0. And I just feel that, you know, he drew, you know, with Everton as well. Everton, like a team that normally Arsenal would take apart. It's not been great from him since last season and then following into this season. And you can see that Arsenal are being very ambitious with the women's team. You know what I mean? As I said, playing like lots of home games at the Emirates Stadium. You know, they're really trying to, you know, maximize what they've got, which they are the biggest, for me, the biggest women's team and best supported women's team in this country. But we are been poor in Europe, right? Yeah. Last year and started off poorly this year. And, you know, again, poor in the league. I'm not surprised by the change. I'm just surprised that they didn't give him at least all the game, you know. And I know, you know, people are saying, oh, he wasn't sacked. He resigned. Yeah. Listen, he's sacked. Yeah, I mean, he knew it was coming, right? So, you know, when you know the rumblings, you know, so you've just said, all right, I'm going to, yeah, he knew he was going to, I think he knew what was coming. Yeah. And I think it's a chance now for somebody to come in fresh, you know, for them to make a really good appointment. And I don't know who that's going to be, but we've got a great team there. It's stacked with top quality players. We should be doing a lot better than we are this season. And it doesn't surprise me at all, the change.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the game's coming up. You mentioned the home game. It's Valerenga tomorrow night, 8 p.m. West Ham away, Man United away, Brighton at home, and Juventus away. Of course, they use the appointment. We'll cover it here on AFTV, but he does leave the squad. Oh, I just had it right in front of me. Apologies. He does leave the squad on exactly 5 points. There we go. Yeah, 5 points. 4 goals scored, 4 conceded, a win and 2 draws from the opening 4 games, sitting in 6th, 5 points off Man City, top of the league, who have won 3 and drawn 1 of their first 4. So yeah, not great. We'll keep you up to date on everything that happens. I know super chats are coming through. We'll get to those very shortly, but let's just quickly start as I get those together. Let's just start talking about the injury news. So I took Gabriel Martinelli that started to come through, Robbie. Arsenal, Timber was like a big shock last year with the news that sort of an hour into his Premier League debut, he was going to be out for the season pretty much. This season, Arsenal, and at touchwood, they haven't had that kind of level of injury. But we think of Merino missing a month and a bit. We think of Jesus missing quite a few games. Calafiori, Timber have missed a few games here and there. Ødegaard has missed that really crucial set of games. Arsenal have been significantly more unlucky this season with injuries than last season so far.
We've had a lot of injuries. What it is that I think it's been proven that we've got a very good squad because we've had a lot of injuries, and we've had some injuries to some big players like Martin Ødegaard. You know, if you told me last season he's going to be out for like some of the games that we had, he'd be missing Man City, he'd be missing Spurs, I'd be very, very worried.
Yeah.
So we've actually, the reason why we haven't been sort of losing it a bit more like what we normally do when it comes to injuries is that actually the squad has been covering brilliantly. Remember Ben White, that's another one.
Yeah, you're right. Ben White.
Big players, man. Ben White, Tomiyasu, who another setback with him. As we said, Martin Ødegaard, Merino, the guys come in to play on that left-hand side. I mean, he's been out. Like you said, Jesus. These are not like little sub players. These are big players in our squad. Zinchenko. And they haven't really been missed just because the squad has been doing really, really well in covering that. You know what I mean? The players that have come in have been outstanding. Calafiori's come in. He's done brilliantly. Timber's stepped in and has been excellent. You know what I mean? You know, Trossard covering in there for Martin Ødegaard, you know. So, you know, and even Thomas Partey, who's normally the person that's injured, coming in and sort of, you know, going in a defensive midfielder position, enabling Declan Rice to sort of go forward into that position where we probably assume Merino is going to be. Yeah. So I think we've done brilliantly with injuries. so far, because we had a lot. When like you said, yes, City have got the injury to Rodri. That's as one guy. Well, I think Rodri and Ake are their two. Obviously, they're two big ones. When I look around at a lot of the other teams, they haven't had as many injuries to big players as we have. And when you couple on top of that, the difficult start to the season that we've had with the type of games that we've had, I think Arsenal can really look on this and say it's been a great start to the season.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the absence of Ødegaard, we've had to go to Tottenham away, Man City away, Atalanta away. We've had PSG at home. Of course, there's pressure on that PSG game because we drew the Atalanta game, which our fans were pretty forgiving about. There were some really tricky games in there. And
big games.
What I found that Arteta, huge games. And Arteta did really well to find solutions. Everyone, go check out Behind the Numbers coming out with me in Turkish at 5 p.m. today. And we go through because I bring like a lawyer, like files, a case as to why Arsenal are not boring. Honestly, the detail I brought to this, just to make the point that even without Ødegaard, Arsenal are not boring. And we had to play different ways, and people were coming with stats to play Arsenal down or whatever. But Arsenal actually found a way to get results playing a different way, to adapt to not having as much of the ball because we don't have our captain, our midfielder who runs the show, and Martinelli. That's fine. Others have injuries, like De Bruyne has missed a few games for City. But it's about how you react. And I think Arsenal reacted really well. We're going to go through some details around, Martinelli, Tomiyasu, what's being said. But just to say well done to Arteta and the Arsenal team for coping really well so far. I know some people say, well, you should. It's a £500 million squad and you spent all this money, got all these players. I hear that. But we had a very exceptional set of circumstances with the game we were missing, with the games we were playing and the players we were missing for those games. Credit to the team for coming through that pretty well.
Yeah, no, listen, and there was a lot of people at the end of the transfer window saying that, our squad is not strong. Well, I think we've proved that the squad is strong because, as I said, these are players. If Zinchenko was missing last year, it'd be a problem. Yeah. If, Ben White was missing last year, that's a big problem.
Yes.
Same with Ødegaard. We're talking, these are the big players that would be missing. There'd be huge problems. And they haven't really been missed. And that shows you how good the squad is. And sometimes I get very baffled because people be like, our squad, it's not strong enough. Now listen, the real situation is you can never always have a squad where it's absolute like for like. I went through this with Yardman a few weeks ago. Like, he's like, oh, well, if there's an injury to, say, for instance, there's an injury to Saka, then, you got Sterling who can come in there. You got Jesus who can come in there. That's not like, you're never going to get like for like, because if you got somebody who's like for like with Saka, he probably doesn't want to come to Arsenal because probably think I should be starting somewhere.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the difficulty you have.
Yeah.
City don't have a like for Haaland.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Haaland, and they don't have a like for De Bruyne. They don't have a like for De Bruyne for Rodri.
Yeah.
So you'll see, they've done pretty well without Rodri so far because they found a different way of playing, and Kovacic has stepped up so far. So, but Kovacic is not Rodri. So this is what, I don't understand sometimes why our fans sometimes are looking at it and thinking our squad, we've got a strong squad.
I'm with you.
Strong squad, especially in defence and in midfield at the moment. There's a good strength in depth. And even up front, I'd say the only thing is you'd say Havertz is, there's not really somebody who's exactly like him to come in. But we do have a striker in, I know he hasn't been playing well, but you can play Jesus there as a striker. You could even play Martinelli there as a striker. You can play Trossard there as a striker. So it's a good squad. It's a good squad.
I'm with you. I think we're in a much better position solution-wise to deal with problems. I think last season, if we lost Saka, I'd have been so frustrated because Jesus was probably our best 9, and then Havertz was playing midfield. We didn't have Sterling. Whereas now, with the way Havertz is playing up front, Jesus for me is a squad player. Now, if Saka, we hope he doesn't. Of course, we know he's got a slight injury from his time with England. But if he can't play against Bournemouth on the weekend, my expectations aren't changing because Jesus or Sterling can play out there, and I'm expecting them to, and Waneri, may I say, and I'm expecting the level to Okay, you lose Saka, you're not as good a team, but I'm largely expecting the same thing. So I agree. I think the squad is in a much better place. Let's talk about those injuries in more details. Before we do, we're going to go through super chat, starting with Suj, who sent this in. By the way, big up to Suj, who's always supporting, fan channels and just a part of it. Was always a pleasure to have you, man. Hope you're good. Suj. He says, big up the actual Don Robbie and the master tactical genius, James. Thank you, Steve. Very kind. I'm not sure about that, but I'll take it. Big up the community. I can't get into internationals being Australian and Indian, and, our teams are a mess. England are meant to be quite good, and I can't get into it, Suj. So I hear it. Club football all the way. Perth Luxury says, Robbie, volcano sauce fund to fix deluded tie.
Oh, you know what, right? You had last night, right, on the Bias Premier League show, right? He was trying to argue. Now, listen, we love Arsenal. We love Arsenal to the depths of our heart, yeah?
Yeah.
But he was trying to argue, right? Or he would not admit that Real Madrid are a bigger club than Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
So I called him deluded, right? And then he started to take exception at me calling him deluded. And then I read out, what, the dictionary means when it says deluded, which is basically you're not believing something that is truthful, right? Right. I got the definition of deluded up. It was honestly, the show was an absolute classic last night. He was in fine form. You know him. You'll argue anything, but
he's been in fantastic form recently, Ty.
He has been.
Biased. There we go. I think sometimes we will just have to admit Real Madrid are a bigger club, but that's okay. KD says, we have an amazing team. We need someone with experience this time. He was the reason for Viv Binamar leaving the club. Out of position, Tuchel or Pep. So two separate conversations here on the Jonas Eidevall thing. Saying that we need someone with experience. Is that true? Is he the main reason for the Miedemar departing, you think?
Well, he's in charge, isn't it? And Miedemar left. And, again, that was a bit of a... Listen, it's one of those ones, right? If you let a player like that, even though she was coming back after all the injuries and everything, you let a player like that leave, right? And it don't work. You're going to come under heavy criticism. And that's exactly what's happened. And now she's gone to Man City. Yeah, and Man City have got a very good team. So she's gone to strengthen that team. So some of his decisions have looked very dodgy. As I said, no surprise that he's gone. No surprise, you know what I mean? Because he just underachieving, just didn't really inspire you as well. Like I just felt a lot of times when Emma Hayes was here at Chelsea, she's always getting the better of him, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. There was even that time when she pushed him, which Ty's always going on about, So I just hope they make a great appointment because we've got a great team, the women's team. It's like we're the Arsenal's women's team, best supported team in the WSL. Even the away support that they have, James, is brilliant. So literally every time they play a team away. Right. Last season, literally every time they played a team away, they broke their record for attendances because of Arsenal's away support. Wow. So that support deserves the very best, and he wasn't delivering. And that's what, if you're not delivering, you're going to get the sack.
No, totally fair. And on the Tuchel Pep question, if you had to pick one for England,
well, it'd be Pep, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? It'd be Pep, but. Pep's still at City. He'll still be at City. It's funny because I saw him doing an interview where he's not committing to staying at City. I think he could go at the end of the season. I think this could be his last season. I really do.
Very, very, very possible. Yeah. And I will say one thing about Tuchel, right? I do think his style is very suited to tournament football. I could see him very quickly implementing a good shape, just getting the best out of what he's got, which is an incredibly talented pool of players with England, and actually being able to navigate a tournament really well. Now, whether Pep can do that, Guardiola for me is the greatest manager of all time. So I imagine he can do it. But it's just an interesting question. Is Pep trying to implement a style of play that typically takes a little bit longer, that requires a lot of time playing regular football with very particular players? I don't know, but he is the better manager, so I'd want Guardiola, but it's just an interesting question. Should we talk injury specifics. Should we talk
Yeah.
about Martinelli and Tomiyasu and everything? So Martinelli, apparently it was a slight problem on his right calf, a bit of swelling, been looked at by the Brazil medical staff. He won't be playing in the game against Peru. That was the updates yesterday coming from TNT Sports Brazil, Fabrizio Romano. There's plenty of people saying he had some taping, I think, around his leg as well. So that was, I mean, that's disappointing to see. It sounds like it's nothing too serious. It also sounds like maybe Arsenal have sent these players off with clear instruction.
Yeah.
If you feel anything, home.
Home.
You know, and I get it. And that's probably not even just an international thing. That's probably amongst the clubs as well. Like, look at Jurien Timber. If that game against Southampton, I think if it were the Champions League final, Timber would have been fine to play. But
if it weren't Southampton, if we'd have been playing, I don't know, City, he would have been playing. So would Havertz would have been playing. Well, Havertz did play, but if there was a midweek game, right, in the Champions League, Havertz would have been playing in that. I think, like, listen, there's a lot of players that pulled out and things like that. There's nothing wrong with them. Let's be real. I was worried when I saw Saka go down the other night.
Yeah.
But notice, like you said, he's after the goal, he felt something, they said. He just sat down on the ground immediately. Came off, and, you know, all the talk is that he's going to be all right for the game against Bournemouth. So I think there's an obvious instruction that you feel any sort of muscle pain, twinge, whatever, get yourself off that pitch because, you know, it is only the Nations League. You know what I mean? And I was glad that Saka came off because, you know, we got two players in Saka and Declan Rice that play like literally every minute of every England game. If Havertz would have gone to Germany, he would have played. Right, in probably in both those games because he's a regular for Germany. Trossard played both games for Belgium. You know, I mean, we've got players that are playing like their regular fixtures for their club, you know, for their country. And I'm hoping that the Martinelli one is again like just one where it's just like, listen, you felt a little thing straight away off kind of thing because he's important. I'd be gutted if Martinelli's injured.
Me too.
Because he's just now, after a rocky start to the season, he was getting a bit of stick off from some fans. The last few games, I think he's been brilliant. I thought he was brilliant against City, even though, you know, obviously it wasn't so much in his attacking role in that second half. He had to work. No, I think it was Turkish who said the other day, or I don't know if it was you who said that, note that it was Saka who was sacrificed when we went down to 10 men.
Yeah.
Not Martinelli. And that was because of his work rate and his ability to carry the ball. He was brilliant in that game. And then he's been brilliant in the next two games after that. He scored goals. He's getting back to the Martinelli that we saw and loved when he scored them 16 goals in a season. So if he's injured now, I'd be gutted because the position he's in as well, you can't really afford to get injured. You've got Sterling breathing down your neck. You can get Trossard in there. You know what I mean? He's like, you can't afford to be out now in this Arsenal team, you know what I mean? So,
and I felt he was deserving of this good form because the shift he put in, Tottenham away, Atalanta away, Man City away, the work rate, right? And I thought he was poor against Atalanta, if I'm honest, but against or not at his best, certainly going forward, he worked really hard as he always does. I thought against Tottenham he was actually all right. He had the beating of Porro a few times. Man City, I mean, okay, he rolls back for Calafiori, who does all the hard work, but still, he makes the right decision to pass it to him rather than whip it aimlessly into the box. And the one time he did put it into the box, Trossard put it over the bar. Probably scores that 5 out of 10 times, Trossard. So, man, he was starting to look an attacking threat against City. Then all the work in the second half. And then there's a lot of debate about whether Marte should keep his place after City. And for me, it was like, yes, because you've got to reward him for the hard work he's put in all these really big, difficult away games. You need to reward him and show him that, you know, we acknowledge what you've done for this context of match. Now show us what you got for Leicester and Southampton. Look, he got the opening goal against Leicester, got us off the mark. But then he got the winning goal essentially against Southampton by scoring the second, the first 2-1 up. It was a big goal off the bench. Difficult to come off the bench, always have an impact, but he did. And he was he was growing into his kind of moment. And I really hope he's okay. I hope it's nothing serious because I still think Martinelli, when he's at his best, like he was a season and a half ago, 22-23 campaign, I think he's one of our most devastating players. You know, I don't think he needs many chances to score. His pace in behind is ruthless. His work rate's phenomenal. At his best, he is, even though we have 3 or 4 players that can play on the left wing, all at their best, for me, Martinelli is the best player we have in that position. So I really hope he's okay.
Yeah, no, honestly, like, I absolutely love him as a player. And as I said, he's worked hard to get himself back, sort of, because he honestly, like, I was getting a little bit worried. Yeah, because I was at, what game was it? It was at Villa, when we played Villa, and there was a guy behind me, and he was like giving him a lot of stick. And to be fair to this guy, he wasn't the type of fan that, sometimes you get some fans that they're just piling in on. He wasn't. He actually said to me at half time, he goes, I like Martinelli, I think, but he's just not. He goes, he's just not delivering. He goes, and he's not delivered for so long. It's like, why is he in the team? Why is he starting? And he was under a lot of pressure. And you know what, right? Would he have been starting the games he started had there not been the injury to Odegaard? That's an interesting thing to ask, because obviously,
fascinating question. Yeah,
Trossard dropped into that position, and then he's been more likely to get that position ahead of Sterling, who's, you can see, he's not fully up to speed yet. So he's had a little luck there, because I remember Trossard scored that goal, against Villa, didn't celebrate. That all those things put him under a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
people are like, yeah, Trossard should be starting Trossard. So he had a little bit of luck in that Odegaard's been out, Trossard's coming to that position, so he's had a chance, but he's taken it, and that's what I love to see. And he's such a, you can sometimes as well, you got some players that you can see they love Arsenal, they love the club. He's one of them, so I'm really happy for him. Really, really happy for him.
Got this comment here on screen. SSX5 says Martinelli bowl account should be fine. Might miss Bournemouth, but beyond that, he'll be good to go. Might even be ready for that game. Well, the rumours is that Saka and Martinelli could well be fine, but we need to wait and see. Because of the squad depth, I feel like Arteta won't push it. I don't think Arteta will, if they're not 100%, use them. But if they've come back, they said, look, we're fine, we're good to go. He makes a decision about whether they're on the bench or they start. Martinelli aside, we talked about him. There's 3 more players to discuss. Saka, I know we've kind of just mentioned him, but I'll put that to a side for a sec. Let's talk about Tomiyasu. You came on for 20 minutes, more or less 20 minutes against Bournemouth. Now, according to Team Talk, he might have had a setback to the knee injury that's kept him out for 3 months, because it's easy to forget that it's been 3 months. He missed all of pre-season, which started mid-July. Mid-August, the season started, and this is the second international break. So he came back around the beginning, mid-October. That's 3 months this knee injury kept on. That's a long time, Robbie. Like, that's not... Yeah. I think when it happens November to February, you feel it. Oh, 3 months, that's a long time. Because it was pre-season, we've had international breaks. We haven't felt it as much. It's a long time to be away. Now, potentially, he's out for another month if Team Talk have got this right, and we are waiting for other reports. We haven't had those other reports. It is worth saying that, so he might be fine. But he has been a very injury-prone player. How do you feel about that, Robbie? How do you feel about a player that's that injury-prone in the squad? Obviously, they don't mean to be. What's your kind of immediate reaction to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very frustrating, obviously. Again, we're talking about a player that last season was a very important player for us. Can be a very important player for us going forward. We've got loads of games, we've got loads of fixtures. He came on for those 20 minutes against Southampton, looked all right as well. Didn't look like a player that's been out for a long time, looked all right. But injured again. Now, I've heard a lot of people. I saw Dan Potts yesterday did a video. He's just like, just get rid. I'm not with that right now. I mean, it's not a player's fault that he's injured. We've seen players come back from injuries and make a full recovery. I mean, Thomas Partey so far has played every game this season, and he's looking good, right? So
played a lot of back-to-back games as well.
Yeah. He's obviously now fully got over that injury, and I think we have to be careful here because I always remember years and years ago, right? One of the most injury-prone players that Arsenal have ever had was Robin van Persie.
Yeah.
Injured. People will be saying the same thing. I just get rid, man. This guy. You know what I mean? Then he got over his injuries, came in, had an unbelievable season, and then he went to Man United. So when we're all begging to keep him. Oh, let's keep. But why are we selling him, Arsenal? Why have Arsenal not tied him down to this long contract? Well, the reason why they hadn't done that previously is because he was always injured. So we will give Tomiyasu a chance, because I like him as a player, and I think he can be a very important player for this squad, especially when we get into like next season next year in run-ins and things like that. But it's getting very frustrating. He's injured a lot. You know what I mean? Over the past couple of seasons, a lot of times when we've needed him, that's when he picks. I remember he picked up that injury against City.
Yeah.
And he was literally gone for that. And he's an important player.
Yeah.
But again, he's another player. He's got a problem now because Arteta strengthened that squad at the back. Now Timber's there, Ben White. They're not even on that left-hand side. You've got Timber who can cover that, and Calafiori. And Zinchenko. Then that's another guy who's under pressure, Zinchenko. He's been out for ages as well.
Yeah.
He's only played one game this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he played start against Wolves.
These guys, not through any fault of their own, because remember, when you're injured, you don't want to be injured.
No.
But if you're going to be out for ages, and then you've got these players coming in like Calafiori and doing well, you're not going to get your place back.
No, I agree. I think that's where the pressure is on these players. And I think this season more than most, probably more than any I can remember recently, and obviously I don't want injuries for players, but I'm less kind of devastated by injuries to key players because of some of the depth we have in certain areas. Tomiyasu being injured a year or two ago, what's this, Rob? If you had a car that broke down as much as what Tomiyasu, you would get a new car. The thing is, right, but if it was, this can sound really mean, but if it wasn't the car you used every day, you might not be in a rush to deal with it because you've got other great cars. Like, the thing about Tomiyasu is that what's his role in the squad? He's a squad player who can play across the whole back four. He can comfortably play right back, centre back, left back. He's brilliant in the air, really athletic, pretty good with both feet. He's quite young. I think he's still like 24, 25. And the reality is, are you going to get a better squad player than Tomiyasu out there right now? A player who's happy to play kind of bit part here and then, but when he's fit, can be used to lock down wingers. He's very good at that side of the game. He's really good in the air. So this whole get rid of him, he's not on crazy wages as far as I'm aware. You're so stacked because you've got Ben White, Timber, Calafiori, Kivior, Zinchenko, Lewis Kelly. They can all play fullback. I sort of think, even if he is injured and misses 40% of the season, 30 to 40%, right? That's about as much as he's missing. Even if he's playing a part for 60%, like, is that not kind of worth it? I don't know. I'm looking at it from another angle where I just think, I don't think it's a case of, well, you're so injury prone, you've got to go, because we're so stacked in that area. And he does offer something to the squad. And I hope he can get fit and maintain that fitness and fight for his place. I think he's good enough to. I don't have this sense of like, we have to get rid of him. I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, I was asking that question, but we're so stacked that I don't feel like, he needs replacing desperately.
Yeah. And listen, if he's injured all season, remember, we're only in October. Right. So again, there's a long, long way to go. Right. If he's out for the whole season and barely, then I get it. But there's a long way to go. Maybe they're being cautious with him as well. Maybe it's like, if that knee's not quite right, take another rest. We got enough, like you said, James, we've got enough players in that area. Come back when you're fully, maybe later on in the season. Or maybe last season, they wouldn't have been able to do that. And he'd have to continue playing on that. And, it becomes a problem later on. So there's no need to rush him back right now. But he needs to get fit because competition for places now are serious. Even some of the kids, Lewis Skelly and that are coming through, putting these guys under pressure. So
Josh
he needs to
Nichols
get
as
fit.
well. Did well
Sorry?
in the Carabao. Josh Nichols, I thought, did well against
Yeah.
Bolton.
Yeah. So you got to step it up. Yeah, I mean, you got to like pray that you can get over this injury fast and get back in the team because it's very unforgiving, the Premier League, as we know. And it's very unforgiving when you're playing at a top football club that you can lose your place and not get it back. Because right now, if everybody's fit, he don't start.
No, that's the crucial thing. And also, where is he in the pecking order? He's low down. I mean, I love Tomiyasu, and there are certain games where I think Tomiyasu is probably the player you want on the pitch. Like, if we're trying to hold out a lead, like when we were away at the Etihad the other day, you want Tomiyasu on that pitch, whatever the context, back four, back five, you want him on the pitch to win headers, to lock down fullbacks. I love Calafiori. I love Calafiori, but I actually think Tomiyasu's still, in the very little we've seen of Calafiori, proven a better defender. Maybe standing up one-on-one with fullbacks, good pace on the recovery, all that, right? So I think there's still certain games where you want Tomiyasu. But in the pecking order, if you remove the centre-backs, so Saliba Gabriel, it's probably Timber White, and then Calafiori, Zinchenko. I know some people say Tomiyasu's above that, but,
Kivior there.
You got Kivior, and Arteta said that he likes left footers at left back and right footers at right back. So it, that's why I don't stress about it. And I'm sort of like, yeah, you're right. If you need to take time, take time. But there is a frustration amongst the fan base, which is like, yeah, but you're not, you're never fit. We want to use you. We want you to be playing. And that'll be disappointing for him as much as us. I mean, this is what everyone always forgets. I mean, Arsenal fans sometimes take it so personally, like, why are you injured? They want to be fit.
There's no player that wants to be injured, believe you me. There's no player, especially when there's so much competition for places, right? There's no player. These players want to play. You want to play every game, and you don't want to be injured when you've got such good competition around you. There is no way you want to be injured.
We've got a comment from a guy called Me who says even Tierney's applying pressure on Tomiyasu.
Did we forget about Kieran Tierney? I mean,
it's true. We've got Kieran Tierney. I forget about him.
I feel so sorry for him, man. I mean, how long has he been a hamstring?
Do you think Tierney's ahead of Lewis Skelly in the pecking order? Genuine question.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
So you think if we're playing a good side, if we're playing Palace at home on Saturday, 3 p.m., and every left back is injured, I mean, all of them, except for Tierney and Lewis Skelly, who do you think he picks?
I think he picked Lewis Skelly.
That is fascinating. I think I agree with you.
I think he would.
That is worrying for Kieran Tierney, isn't it? Bless his heart.
Yeah, they're going to sell Tierney, but his injury, I mean, I don't know if you saw the video I did with Dr. Andre, who's the doctor.
I saw some clips on socials. I hadn't got around to watching
it. If you get a chance, James, watch that. Yeah, watch that video. It's really good, right? Because I asked him about hamstrings. I go, why is it you got some hamstrings that they can keep you out for just a couple of weeks, and then you got others that they keep you out for 8? And he was sort of breaking it down to different type of hamstring injuries, and obviously Tierney's got the very worst type. I mean, same type of one like what Reece James has been having. Like those keep you out for ages, and they're very hard to recover from. And because remember he got injured in the Euros. Second game in the Euros playing for Scotland.
That's mid-June.
Got injured. Yeah.
That's 4 months. 4 months.
4 months. And he's still not back in full training yet.
Yeah.
It's shocking. And he's just been riddled with injury. You think that guy wants to be injured? It's hard. It's really, really hard for some of these guys, Ali
Hassan says the Dr. Andre video was legendary. Need more videos like that. You got a lot of love on socials as well for that piece of content, Robbie. So Clara's saying, big up Sonia, put the final nail in the coffin for Jonas. Let's see if Arsenal women can avoid the relegation battle now.
Clara's a Chelsea fan, by the way, right? So, listen.
Is this Clara who gives Abby stick on DR?
It is the same Clara. And she's right. It has put a lot of pressure. Did put a lot of pressure on Jonas. Because, Sonia Bompassa's come in after Emma Hayes has hit the ground running. So not been a good look for him at all. So well, listen, he's gone now, isn't it? So it'll be interesting to see who they get in.
Another super chat from C. Thank you so much to Clara, C, and everyone for your super chats. C says, Sonia Lil broing. Jonas at his last game was nice to see, giving him the head pat. Oh, I missed that. Is that true?
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that bit. Right, on to what we've 50 minutes to go, everyone. Smash the like button if you are enjoying this video. I think I should have this little effect that pops up with my thumbs up. No, my laptop's not going to do. That's so embarrassing. Whenever I'm live, it accidentally does it. Is it not? Come on, laptop.
I saw it earlier.
It's not doing it. You know, if you do this, a little thumbs up pops up. But now I'm just standing here like an idiot. Just
hey, you know what, James? There's a comment here. This guy here.
Yes.
I know you're the expert. You break these. I don't know if you've broken this down in your videos coming out later. But Mikel Merino, where's he going to play, and what will his impact be?
I think the biggest compliment I can make to Mikel Merino, the most exciting prediction I can make for him, which I know it's going to sound a bit dull, but let me land people. I think he's going to allow Rice and Ødegaard to do what they do best because he's a perfect fit for them. And that is how he's going to impact the team more than anything. Now, I know it sounds weird. He's almost like the perfect facilitator. In a weird way, what Granit Xhaka did so well. I think there's a lot of similarities in their game. I really, really do. I think Merino might be a little bit more box-to-box naturally, whereas Xhaka is someone who can hold the centre of the pitch and keep the play moving. But in his final season at Arsenal, he was that box-to-box brilliantly for us. And I think what we've had to do, when Partey was injured last season, we couldn't quite get the balance right in midfield. So Rice was either at 6 or he went to 8. But either way, Ødegaard was dropping in to build up because we had Havertz going up the pitch, or we had other 8s that we weren't completely comfortable with. And now this season, what we've had is, Rice playing as the 8 because Marino's been injured. But I think, what does Ødegaard do and what does Rice do at their best? For me, Ødegaard keeps the midfield running, but then in the final third, he can show his quality. I don't think he's an output player so much, but he can. Give him that freedom to go where he needs to go. Rice, for me, is a pure ball winner. Like his ability, he's such a great player, he can do so many things, but his ability to win the ball from midfield, for me, is the best in the world. I don't know if any midfielder does it as well as Rice does at his best. Merino, I think, allows those players to just excel. He can drop in next to Rice and be a player in build-up. He can move up to the front line and be attacking that back post when Ødegaard or Saka whip it to the back post. He can be that box-to-box runner. He can be that physical presence as well. He can just allow Rice and Ødegaard to do things they do best, whilst being a really highly technical player, fantastic duel winner, someone who's going to cover a lot of ground, someone who's going to make us even more physically imposing than we already are. I think he's going to help unlock Martinelli, because don't underestimate how much having a left footer on that side with Calafiori left footer as well helps getting the balance out of Martinelli, who's making us out to in runs. All those things for me, he's just, I think, while he will be himself an upgrade in the left eight, I believe, it's lifting up Rice, it's lifting up Ødegaard, it's lifting up Martinelli. Hope I've explained that well enough, but I just think he is going to be a glue that holds everything together.
So unknown C there says, will Merino bring progressive passing?
Great question.
We lose that with Partey not being there. What about that?
I've got a slight unpopular opinion, right? That I think Partey started the season really well.
So do I.
I think Merino will have to work hard for his place. And it's going to sound crazy because I think Rice, £105 million player, he's fantastic. I do think he's a world-class midfielder and he'll always have a place in this team, Rice. But I also think the fact that Partey is playing so well is going to ask questions of all three of them, Merino, Rice, and Partey. I think once upon a time we felt, well, Rice is in that team no matter what. And he is in that team. God, I'm going to regret saying this. Rice is in that team no matter what. But I do...
Hey, drop Rice.
No. Hear me out. All right. They won't drop him. But I do think that there will be... Partey started really well, and I think Rice is the better 6, and I think Rice will keep his place in the team no matter what. But I do think there might be a temptation to rotate every now and again. Rice has played a lot of football. There might be a temptation to keep Merino out of the squad and play Rice out of position slightly on the left 8 so that Partey keeps his place. What I'm trying to say is, I think once upon a time we felt the game plan was get Rice wherever you want him. It's put him on the team sheet and build around him. Whereas now I think there'll be a little bit more, actually move Rice there so we can have Partey, or move Rice back to 6 of the balance with Merino, and lots of different things, and maybe a little bit of rotation. I think it could, that could be that pressure there a little bit. No, don't drop Rice.
Yeah, this guy Drewski said Partey is a liability, gives the ball away in dangerous areas and fades in the second half of games. I think earlier on in the season, I think the last few games he hasn't been giving the ball away. He's obviously got fitter, because we have to remember as well, the season had just started, so players are just, especially a player like that who's been out for a while. But I have liked his progressive passing, like you said, like especially in particular, always seems to be able to find Saka out wide with like some nice balls and then bring him into play very well. Although Rice progressive passing is pretty decent as well. You know, I mean, he's got those good sort of diagonals he hits and things like that.
Fantastic switcher.
It's just great to see options in that area. You know what I mean? And like you said, and a few people have made this point as well about how it benefits a player like Martinelli. Because there was a lot of talk that last year that he wasn't getting into the game enough. Everything was always down the right-hand side without Xhaka being there. Whereas the previous season, there's more balance. He was getting into play a lot more. We've seen him into play a lot more with Calafiori. Will Merino, I'm going to be very interested to see if Merino, and I'm also going to be very interested to see if Merino gets to score a lot of goals arriving late into the box.
Box crashing.
And we know he's very good in the air, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, his aerial duel numbers looked really good. His duel numbers in general looked really good before he signed for Arsenal. But also, I mean, what have we seen? He came on when we had a 2-0 lead to hold against PSG, although he did brilliantly, defending really, really well. And then he came on against Southampton when we needed to find a goal. And look, lovely clip ball over the top to Martinelli. You'd expect a player, a £35 million midfielder, to be able to pull that off. But everything else was really tidy. Don't underestimate people. Tidiness. Don't underestimate players who can just keep things moving in tight spaces. A couple of players around them, they come out with the ball. They make the right path. They release it quickly. They tackle. They make things happen. It sounds like I'm really watering down the kind of player Merino is. Merino's got superb talent as well. But players that can give you a level whilst bringing the level of others around you up it's something I have to hold my hands up. Something I really underestimated in Granit Xhaka. I, for a long time, didn't understand why this guy was in our midfield, why he was out of club. And when he left, and I look at those last 2 seasons he gave Arsenal, especially that last season, I realized how wrong I was about him. And facilitators who can just be a glue for the team. He's 28 years old. He'll be seen as a player with a leadership position too. I think he can add a lot, Merino, and I really think he can do it with Partey alongside him, not always Rice. You know, could you play Rice, Partey, and Merino? That would be a little bit negative, but, you know, you've got box-to-box energy in 2 of those players. You've got a deep-line playmaker. Who knows? Arteta's thrown so many different systems and tactical plans. Who knows? He might try something different. Partey could invert from right back, and you have all 3 of them on the pitch as well. I mean, generally, you could invert Partey, then have him next to Rice and Merino up the pitch. I mean, you can do so many things. Arsenal's options are endless. And I really encourage you. I know I'm plugging my own content here, but behind the numbers, 5 p.m, me and Turkish here on AFTV, like the data just shows that Arsenal are doing so many different things. And having all these options, I think, is such a weapon for us.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we're looking very, very... The team looks physically imposing.
Yeah.
And really, really strong. And if you're a team coming up against Arsenal right now, you're looking at it and go, that's a big physical, strong team, but very skillful as well. And there's so many threats in that team. Merino could really add to those threats. I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring.
Yeah,
I really am.
He's going to be fantastic. And actually, Robbie, and can I say this, and this might be a little bit unpopular amongst the Arsenal fan base at the moment, but I think we still got a lot to see from Raheem Sterling. I really do. I think, I mean, not in like we've seen everything yet. I mean, he's not played that much football, but when he gets really comfortable, and I think he started to see bits of that against Southampton. A lot of people said he wasn't great. I thought he was pretty good against Southampton. I was pretty happy with his performance. He wasn't brilliant. He wasn't terrorizing them, but winning the ball high up the pitch, taking on his fullback at times. When it starts to click for him a little bit, if that moment comes, that's another player that's going to give us. I mean, look how Calafiori's added so much already. Like Arteta, I think Arteta and Edu were only going to add players this summer that they really felt were going to upgrade us genuinely. And Sterling might have upgraded the squad more than the starting 11. I do think he's an upgrade on Reece Nelson, but this next campaign will tell us whether I'm right or wrong about that. So we've still got quite a lot to see with Ødegaard to come back from injury, with Nwaneri getting older and better as the season goes on. So I think there's a lot of faces this Arsenal team haven't shown yet.
Yeah, and then there's Jesus. We need him to turn up as well. I mean, I think this could be a separate video, James. We need to do a video about Jesus because there are a lot of people getting on his case right now. I've been defending him. I've been saying, listen, I again, because I look at it and I say still early in the season.
Yeah.
So he's still got time to come good, but he's under a lot of pressure. He's trying too hard at the moment. Every time I see him playing in a game, he's making the wrong decisions. He's trying to score when he shouldn't score. He's passing it when he shouldn't pass it. He's been having a shocker so far.
I agree.
He needs to come to the party. You know what I mean? He needs to get involved. You know what I mean? And it's early in the season, but we need him to turn up. If the squad, I've got a good squad if everybody's on it.
I couldn't agree more. I think Jesus, I think he's in his head a bit too much right now. I think you're so right. When I watch him in game, it doesn't look like a fitness issue. It looks to me like a player. You're so right. There was one moment against Southampton in the first half. I don't know if you remember where he turned past a player and it was really good. He just needed to release Saka on the break, but he actually turned back into the defender.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of little things like that where it was like, you try too much here, or you've gone for something you shouldn't have. And honestly, he's a player at the moment who I think Arsenal fans just need him to give us a 6 or 7 out of 10. Just give us a 6 or a 7. But he's trying to give us an 8 or a 9 to remind us who he is. But it's not coming off, so he's giving us 3s. And it's just like, just go out there, give us a few sensible performances, work hard, do the simple things. The flair will come. I don't think you lose that flair. That you might lose a little something when you have a knee problem or whatever, but it's all still in there. He just needs to rediscover that inspiration. And when Jesus is at his best, if he can rediscover his best of 2 seasons ago, he will be a big player for us. He's had big performances and moments since his injury. Remember Bayern Munich came on 2-1 down. His bit of magic gets us that equaliser with Trossard. He started on the right in the absence of Bukayo Saka at home to Man City. We desperately needed to beat them at the Emirates. We did 1-0. So he's had big moments since his injury, big performances, severe away. But he's in his head too much for me right now. I haven't given up on him yet, but this is a big season for him because otherwise, with the I hate to talk about footballers in this way, but with the salary he's on, the money we spent for him, wearing the number 9 shirt, if he doesn't deliver this season, then you do start to ask big questions in the summer.
Yeah, like this guy said here, been very selfish in the last 2 cameos, and it's true. He became, I mean, in a team that's not a selfish team. He's looked very selfish in certain games. So that, and he needs a big game to get him back. Just like, listen, Martinelli's done it. As I said, Martinelli's under the cosh for the first few games of the season. But the last few games, he's pulled it back, and now he's starting to look, people are singing his name again, looking back to his best. Jesus just needs to calm down, man. Relax. When you come on, stop overdoing it. Stop overdoing it. Just chill.
And can I cut you there, Robbie? And Jesus, be inspired by Calafiori. Had a horrible knee injury 4 years ago. And he doesn't move like a player who struggled. Jurriën Timber had a horrible knee injury. Both those players were out for 2, maybe 3 times the length. Martinelli, people forget they're in lockdown. Martinelli had a knee injury that kept him out for a long time. And these players are back and now feel indispensable in this Arsenal team. So whatever people might say about he's not been the same since his knee injury, he can come back to a big level that can help this team if he wants to. And I know he'll want to make it happen because I think he's a really talented player. I hope he does.
Yeah, no, definitely. He needs to.
Yeah.
Because as we've been saying all stream, if not, I mean, you'll be gone at the end of the season.
Yep.
Be gone the end of the season. They're going to be looking at players like Jesus, the management, because they're going to be saying he's got value.
Yeah.
And there would be still a lot of teams that would want him. So it's got to step it up, man.
Let's
and,
see
you know, if, you know, right now we're talking about, you know, Havertz didn't go to away with Germany. We think he's going to be all right. We don't think it's it. But if the way he's playing at the moment, if he's injured, that would be Jesus who have to come in and do the business. So he's got to get himself up to speed.
Yeah, totally agree. We're going to round off there. Everyone, hit the like button if you enjoyed the stream. Just some quick little bits of headline news that we didn't mention. Bukayo Saka is back at London Colney, receiving treatment from the Arsenal group, but Lee Carsley and other reporters saying that's nothing serious, is more precautionary. Keep him out, and as we covered here on AFTV, should be fit for Bournemouth. We'll keep you up to date with any other news here on AFTV. And Martin Odegaard, Sky Sports, putting to bed any potential rumours, reports that we'd covered again here on AFTV that it could be an extension to the injury, but we don't quite know. Arsenal still hopeful Odegaard will be out till November and back. We've got that very difficult cluster of games to come up as well. There will be a behind the numbers with me and Turkish later today. There will be a Forever Arsenal tomorrow as well, and plenty to come throughout the week. I'm sure Invincible podcast starting 11 on match day, the watch along and more. Robbie, a big thank you, mate, and I'll see you soon.
Yep, take care.
Perfect. Everyone hit the like button, subscribe. See you all in a bit.